Cool. Okay. Okay. Welcome again. Okay, I have this great analogy, and I'm not sure where I heard this. Y'all might know, I might have heard, I don't remember, but this analogy about why we reach out to people. This isn't about reach outs, but follow-ups in general, why we keep talking to people. Like when you go to a restaurant and when you're um, getting ready to be waited on, your waiter comes and tells you everything they have available. They tell you the specials, how much they are. They tell you what they have available, right? That is what we are doing to people. You don't look at your waiter and like, oh, why did she just tell me prices? Why? Like, you don't do that, right? And so don't assume people are doing that to you. Like, oh, why would she tell me pricing? Why would she tell me about all these things? Like, we are here to be the waiter, to wait on people. That's going to be a big thing tonight too, is being patient in your follow-ups. And so don't think that you're bugging people, that you're being nosy, like all the things. This is our job. We have an amazing product and we're here to share that with people, right? I have some stats for you. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. So maybe initial contact, a follow-up, and then they stop after that. 2 to 10% are made between the first and fourth contact. But get this, 80% of sales are made between the 5th and the 12th contact. That's a lot of contacts. That's a lot of following up. That's a lot of staying organized. That's a lot of pouring into people. So where are you in your contacts? What is your average? So let me go to the next one. Who, what, when. This is just like super basic. We'll talk about who everyone should be on your follow-up list, right? And we'll kind of go over how we keep those organized. But the main thing is to be patient and not operate out of scarcity. People know when you're trying to make a sale. Okay. They know when you're just trying to get something across, when you're just trying to hit a quote unquote quota, whatever. Like people know that and they can sense that. So we're also going to talk about being genuine and not operating out of a place of scarcity. Like, I need this. I need you to buy this product because it's going to help me. That's not why we share our products. And of course, when is case by case. Okay. So something that's super important to me on my team is leading and messaging and working our business out of confidence, sincerity, and genuineness. We always just want to be sharing from our heart, right? We always want to be following up and reaching out in the most genuine way possible. And I love when my girls are like, what do I say to this person? I'm like, okay, what are you thinking right now? What are your thoughts? Say those things, because if you say anything else, it's just going to be made up, right? Like I love when we send messages that are like, hey, you've been on my heart. Hey, I really have been thinking about you. I have this opportunity, like sharing from a place of abundance so that those people are feeling and understanding that, and you're getting that across. So when doing follow-ups, I love to ask for address and send samples. Brittany Duke and I were talking about this because samples don't work until they work. So you've got to be sending them to the right people. And that's probably a whole nother Zoom for a whole nother time. But in follow-ups, third-party tools are also super important. Inviting them to a third party, so something else aside from you talking, because you've probably done more than enough talking, right? You probably already word vomited. So it's time to send them somewhere else. Inviting them to an online event. That's why we're constantly having these events, because events are so much less awkward to invite people to, right? Like, hey, you've been interested in this. Can I please send you an invite? Would you be interested in this event? And here's all the details. Tagging them in testimonies. Our gut health and happiness, y'all, is an incredible, I don't use it. I'm going to be honest. I don't use it often enough, but we have so much information in there and so much there to tell, right? Facts, what is it? Facts tell, stories sell. Like we have so many stories to share with people that are in our gut health and happiness. So if you don't already use that, I want to encourage you to get after that, because I did that a lot in the beginning and I've gotten away from it, but people being in that group is super important. That's why Joe started it. And getting them on a call with your sponsor. That is for business builders, for product takers. It is so belief building to be on a call with someone else and for someone else to be speaking into your person, validating what you have been saying, answering questions maybe differently than you have. And so we can all learn from each other in these three-way calls and these calls with our sponsors. And a lot of this, y'all, stems from your belief, your confidence. All of this is going to stem from what you believe about yourself, what you believe about the products and what you believe about this business opportunity. So I also want to encourage y'all. I have a bunch of mini Zooms going on right here. I also want to encourage y'all to be working on your belief in all those things, because you might really believe in the products, but this business hasn't done much for me yet. Because all of that is going to come out in your follow-up, believe it or not. All of it is going to come out when you're messaging people. So staying organized with your follow-ups is really important, because I'll tell you from experience, it feels like a year, I have not been very good at writing down my IPA physically. Like I'll have them in the notes section of my phone, and then I have 20 different notes of people's names. So I need to be more organized in that way, because when you miss people, when you miss writing the names down, you're going to forget about them, y'all. Whether you think you are or not, you're going to forget about them. And then you're going to come back 2 years later and they probably already joined another business, or their symptoms are healed, or they're doing something way worse than Plexus, to be honest. I used to write them down I do write them down on a physical calendar. So I have my organizer out, and I'll write their name down when I followed up with them, and then when I need to follow up with them, and we'll get to that. Individual customer sheets are so great, y'all. To write their name, if you sign them up, their username, password, all the things you send them, and then write every time you followed up with them. Like, oh, this time we talked about this, and this was her response, and this is what she was feeling. And then of course, writing them down physically on an IPA. So I want to hear from y'all. What are some ways that y'all stay organized with your people, with your IPA, with writing these things down? And I can't see the chat. So if you'll unmute yourself. Oh, can I see the chat? I think. What are some ways you stay organized? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, just recently, I have been using a binder, and I printed out like maybe 100 IPA sheets. And so it's really nice to like write everyone's name down, and I'll like have a follow-up section and a new reach out section. And then I also have, I forget who made them, but they're like actual customer care sheets that you get to write down their name and what they're dealing with, etc. And I'm just now starting that. I started that like 2 days ago. So I'm very excited to see where that goes.
I love that. I think that was Jen. Anyone else?
Share something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who else is talking. I can share something that I just recently started doing that I learned when we were at Super Saturday, and we hooked up with Joanna's team, Joanna and Katie Ciccarelli was telling us, I don't know if I said her name right, but showing us what she uses in Instagram to keep track of people that she talks to. Basically, when you go into your messages, and if you upgrade your Instagram, there's even more options that you can do with this now. And she said she's going to make a video about this because it's really cool. But you can like flag in the message. And then when you are not in your messages anymore, you'll see like a little orange square that comes up in your messages. So if you're like on the go or something and you don't want to forget about somebody, you can flag them like that in your messenger, which is really cool.
Wow. That's really neat. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
I can share what I do. It's super old school. So I have a notebook with notebook paper, and I literally write their names down. And if I send a reach out, I'll put an R. If I invite them to an event, I put an E. If I send them a sample, I'll put an S. If I just do like, if I tag them in a story, I'll put FU, which doesn't mean the cuss word. It's just follow up. And so anyway, I know what they mean. Yeah. And then I also use those customer care sheets that Jen was talking about. Again, I use like a super old one, but it is so effective. And that's what I use to keep up with all the people that sign up.
I love that. Thanks, y'all. Okay. Hopefully we're writing these things down. Yeah, I'm definitely old school. And I also wanted to point out the people that you follow up with are, like I said in the beginning, everyone who liked your post, who comment on your stories, heart your stories, people who you've talked to, maybe it wasn't the right time. Follow up with those people again, because circumstances change, right? Or circumstances get worse and they realize, okay, I really do want this. And then the last one was, of course, your dream teamers. And all of that stems from, you have to be in action, right? You have to be posting, and you have to be maybe putting polls on your stories in order to get those interactions, or else you're going to be having to send more coldies to send follow-ups. So there's some encouragement. I am going to let y'all hear from B Duke. It is really weird to call her anything but that. I can't call you Brittany. She has signed like 7, 8 people this month already. And we were talking, and I know a lot of that comes from, I probably need to stop share for her, huh? Okay.
We can see her when she unmutes and
Okay.
talks.
Comes from 100% reach out. And I know it's because she messages out of genuineness. So B Duke, please take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is that I'm not doing anything special, y'all. Like, I'm really not. I'm doing the things that we all have been taught to do, that we all know how to do. I'm just being consistent with it. And so for me, yes, it started with 100% reach out. I think I got in like a groove. I got excited about messaging. I got just like pumped to post more. That's kind of where it started. And I think that it's really important, because when we're like messaging, like Jordan's saying, and we're messaging and we're following up with people, you have to be yourself. So like my first take home point is like, be a human. Make sure that as you're going to message people, like have fun with it. Like, how do you know them? Have they not responded to you like a bunch? And you're just like, you know what? I just kind of want to send something funny today to them. Do it. And what's happened with me is that I found that people I was kind of like nervous to reach out to again or follow up with again, those have been some of my favorite conversations I've gotten into. They've told me about their life. They've told me about what's been going on. Not all of them have signed up, but what I found out about y'all is like some serious stuff. Like sometimes when you follow up with someone, they don't respond, or they tell you it's not a good time. They've told me that like their dad's in the hospital. They've told me that their uncle just died, and like all these things. And like, I don't talk about Plexus then. I talk about them, and I talk about like and like making sure they're okay. And then guys, guess what? They go back on my follow-up list to follow up with them about how their family's doing. And so like, I don't want you to forget about that. Like, you have to be a human. And then when they're ready, they're going to be messaging you like as soon as their life slows down, or they're going to say yes on that next follow-up. So that's been happening to me a lot lately, as I'm just like keeping up with my follow-ups, real human follow-ups and follow-ups about Plexus. And then when people are ready, they're saying yes. The other thing is just like, don't take things personally. It kind of goes along with that. If people aren't responding, there's usually a reason. And I want to remind you that like for us, we think about Plexus all the time. We think about it like pretty much every day, right? If you're in this business, you're thinking about it every day. But newsflash, not everyone else is thinking about Plexus every day. And so they just forget. And so you just have to remind them and be playful with it. A message I sent to a girl at the beginning of the year, the 1st of January, I was like, hey girl, you ready to be my first sign up of 2023? Y'all, she didn't respond until I followed up with her this week. And I said, just kidding, you want to be my 9th sign up of 2023? And she finally responded, and she was like, oh my gosh, Brittany, she was like, don't hate me. She was like, don't give up on me. I'm totally going to sign up. As Jordan was saying, with some people, it takes up to 12 contacts. Y'all, I kid you not, I've been messaging this girl for 2 years. And we just keep it fun. We keep it playful. And I know one day she's going to sign up. And so I just keep reminding her about Plexus. The other thing is, it goes along with this stuff, is be patient with people's response time, be respectful of it. Be patient. Something I learned is that you have to be patient with the length of your conversation with people. When I first started, I thought that when I first initiated a conversation with someone, whether it was a cold message or a follow-up, and I was like, really knew they wanted Plexus, and it could have been like the best message in the entire world. But you don't have to complete the conversation and complete a sale in one day. You don't have to be going from start to finish in 2 days. Sometimes it takes weeks. Sometimes it takes 2 days. But I just want y'all to remember that like what these conversations you started at 100% reach out or even this month, those conversations are going to keep going. There's not a perfect timeline for it. And you have to believe that. You have to know that those messages that you're sending now are going to reap fruit later in time. And you have to be okay with that. And be patient with friends who have said no and they're trying other things. A lot of times it's frustrating. And a lot of times we're like, but you really need to do Plexus. I can't believe you're doing Colon Broom. Or like, oh my gosh, you're doing Athletic Greens, but that's just Sean Johnson. And like, I'm Brittany, like, can you order from me instead? And so like, it can be like a bummer, but just be like, heck yeah, girl, tell me how you like it. Like, I've had 2 people sign up this month who tried other things. And then they messaged me and they were like, hey, I tried that other stuff. I didn't really love it. Ready to try Plexus. And I'm like, sounds good. And they almost weren't even on my radar for this month. So you have to like encourage people. Don't get your feelings hurt and just be like, I'm so glad you found something that works. Let me know how it tastes. Okay. And then you can go like get irritated later. Okay. So be patient with people. So for those of you that are like, but that's all great in theory, but you're talking about all these things that like, I have to lay the groundwork and just wait or just be patient. What do I do like right now? So when you sign someone up, I have found that this month, something that's been really helpful for me is to shout out your signups. I got this idea from Lauren Davis. Hey girl. And basically like what she did is she put like a picture of herself on there. And I think she's like cheersing or it's like a cutie little picture. She screenshots her email that says, congratulations on your new Plexus team member. And then she literally is like, so excited for you to get started, Maddie. Like, I thank you for trusting me in this journey. And she tags that person. And so what I found is that by doing that this month, I really think that giving those shout outs shows people that not only is your business open, but people are walking in the door. They're coming in the door and they are starting the products. Because truth be told, people don't know if you've signed up anyone. They don't know if you signed up 75 people. They don't know unless you kind of put it out there a little bit. And then last thing is when you sign someone up, whether you've signed them up or we share something positive in the threads, make sure you're posting about customer wins because these are like our Google reviews, right? And so when people see these little reviews and they're like, oh, this is working. Oh, I really need to message Brittany. Oh, I really need to message Jordan. And like, maybe I should start now. You know, it's like putting that little seed in their head. So you can borrow from other people's customer wins and you don't have to pretend like it's your own. You can be genuine, be authentic and be like, oh my gosh, someone posted this in our thread. Plexus is so awesome. I love doing this. I love it so much. You know, you can just say something like that. But I found that by doing that consistently, it's really started having people come to me more and open a conversation. And lastly, we're doing a book study this month. And if you're not in it, you should be in it because it's been really awesome. But if you're kind of in a place where you're like, oh, I just feel like I'm in a rut with recruiting or signing people or whatever, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. It was happening to me in the fall and I was feeling all the things. And I was just like, man, I'm like in this rut of only signing maybe one person a month, maybe 0. And I just started again. Okay. And I just started doing the things again and I found some momentum. I found some joy and I rolled with it. But what our book study is teaching us too, is we can actually set ourselves up for success by asking us these really good questions that can get us into like a positive mindset. So some questions you can ask yourself before you start messaging or whatever is, instead of just giving yourself a negative reason, you can say, why am I a great recruiter? Or why am I great at signing people? You can say, why am I a trustworthy person? Because sometimes we say like, no one wants to do this with me. Heck yeah, they do. You're a trustworthy person. Why are you a trustworthy person? What have you done to be a trustworthy person? Why do people need Plexus products? Get yourself excited about that because you know a ton of reasons why. And what is something I did today that was genuine and so me that it makes me smile? because you're going to think back on something you did today and you're like, that was like so Jordan of me today. And I need to do more of that. And it makes me happy. And then you're going to be in a better mood and you're going to want to go message people. So hopefully those were helpful. Go learn some boots because like Nashville's going to be really fun.
Yay. Yes. Thank you so much for all that. I love the messages at the end or the questions. I love your brain so much. And just shout out to her because she's hella pregnant and both of her kids are down and she's sharing and doing all the things. So thank you so much. Okay. I also wanted to include this with all the follow-up things. Follow-up does not stop, right? There's no way say this to yourself. There's no way you're ever going to sign someone up and then not know how they feel on their products, not know their routine, not know every single thing they think about Plexus. I'll never forget my team and I watched a Gold Masterminds from Brooke Hemingway. And I think it was like the second or third video. She was saying that she follows up with her people after sign up every 3 days. And we were like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. People are going to think we're annoying, you know, all these red light stories. And so here's a little bit of what she shares and it works, y'all. Obviously, if Brooke Hemingway is doing it, it's working in some capacity. So the next day after you've signed someone up, hopefully over the phone, and you've already talked about a couple of things, message them and say, hey, this video, I've watched this video, or I thought about you and wanted to send you this video. It's going to help you understand what to expect your first couple of months on the products, all the things. Hope you have a good day. And I will share in the chat some videos to send them. It could either be the Me Plus 3 or how to get started with Plexus. We'll send those in the January thread. Then when they get their products, you have already told them, when you get your products, contact me, call me on the phone. I'm going to be here for you. All the questions, all the intro things, any questions they have about the dosage, how their BMs are, if they're on triplex, periods, all the things. Make sure you understand and they are crystal clear on how they're starting. And of course, encourage them, be excited. Like, I am so pumped. Thank you again for trusting me. I'm going to be here for you. You're not going to bother me. Call me anytime you need something or especially anytime you think something's going south. 3 days after that, after they start your products, just a little bit of encouragement. Hey, it's your first couple of days. I hope it feels really good to establish a routine so that if they have not established a routine, you also know that they're going to say like, oh, actually, I suck at taking ProBio. And you're going to be like, girl, set an alarm, put it by your nightstand. Okay. You can, what is it called? Preventatively, I guess is the only word I'm thinking of. Not have someone turn off their sub or not be consistent, not reach their goals with consistency with these follow-ups. And then just ask, what does your day look like so far? Like, hopefully you're doing things like we talked about, and they'll be honest. They'll definitely be good to share what they're doing good and what they're not, what they want to work on. And you'll be able to encourage them in that. Then the 7 days, it's been a week. Oh my gosh, we made it. You know, consistency is going to help you reach your goals. We're so excited. Obviously, a lot of excitement and a lot of thank you, and I'm here for you is what I love about this. I'm going to get out of this. I'll send it after. Brett, oh, that's so weird. P. Duke sent me a video of a girl. P. Duke, I don't remember who it was, but she had a really good system. It was a 90-day system. And so we really want you after this call to be thinking about and really set on your system. Try something out if you don't already have a system. And if you do have a system, we want to know. We want to know what you do and what works for you. Okay. We all love an example, right? Screenshot these, whatever. I liked these different examples. These are ones I've sent. I went through my Facebook Messenger. I know Jordan does this a lot. I love to, thank you, Brittany, for sharing that. I love to go through my Facebook Messenger, and I don't know if you can do it on Instagram. What Marissa shared was awesome, but go through your Facebook Messenger and type in a keyword and it'll pull up all your conversations. Most of the time when I check in with someone, or if I'm following up, I might say something like, I'm checking in. So I typed in check in, and all these people I followed up came up. And so that's where these messages came from. When it's time for a third party, when you've been contacting this person, when it may not have been the right time, time for a third-party tool. I love the triplex video. I love adding them to Gut Health and Happiness, like we talked about in the beginning. But this is so genuine. Like, I love this message. I know you've been thinking about and trying these for a while, and I get it because it's super skeptical. These are vitamins. It's an MLM. Like, you can talk about all those things that people are thinking about, and then go from there. If you've sent samples, follow up with those dang people. It's crazy to me how people can get samples and not drink them. So be on those people because they have the products in their hands. And of course, ending with something like, shoot me straight, like, tell me how you're thinking. I'd love to know. And then someone who you just need to follow up with, maybe the conversation has stopped. I've been thinking about you. This month we have a deal. Of course, like putting some type of discount out there because people want to save money, right? People are motivated by saving money. So even if it's you making an incentive code for $10, like, hey, I have a $10 code. $10 is a lot of money off, like being excited about little things like that as well. And then of course, man, words are hard tonight. Because I understand you're tired with the being a mama and a teacher, like meshing with them. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of. That's okay. Just like understanding where they are at in life. And especially if you've been there doing that. Gosh, y'all, I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of. That's okay.
Relate.
Relating. Thank you. Good Lord. Okay. Relating with them, relating with their current season, just like Britt was talking about. Okay. Of course we're going to work. So some tips for you. I think we have a little bit of time. Yes, we have a little bit of time. Go do something we talked about right now. Whether it's looking for a keyword in your messenger, or if you need to send follow-ups, let's send some follow-ups right now. And I'd love for you to share them in the chat so we can see what you're sending. I love sending voice messages, y'all. If you have never sent a voice message, please, I encourage you to send voice messages, because whether it's through text message or on Facebook or Instagram, people understand where you're coming from and they hear your tone, they hear how excited you are, and it's a lot less awkward than you just like trying, like, I hope I got across what I wanted to say when they're reading it in a text message. And then Jordan loves this GIF. I know she does. So send a short GIF after like a little short message and just make like, I'm human. This is supposed to be fun. Like, I'm trying to connect with you. So send your follow-ups. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm going to send some in the chat. What is Lauren saying? Tips for the girls tonight who just started. Oh, for reach outs. Okay.
Like new girls.
New girls. Hello, new girls. I'm gonna go back to this one. Yeah, what Joe said. Making a post and reaching out to your list. Have they made a list?
Can I ask something, Jordan?
Of course. Who is this? Haley Ross?
So yeah. It's yes, sorry, that sounded so rude. Yeah. We do have some new girls on, and how Lauren just said something about it. Like, can you maybe give an example, or one of us can give an example of like, if they didn't comment on your post, maybe they just liked it, but like still being able to reach out to those, like your very, 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 very first post, reaching out to those that do like your post. You know what I mean?
Hey, thanks for liking my post. I'm so simple. Yes, I really would start with that, but let me look I know I have one of these on my notes.
I send something like that too, like, hey, thanks for the support.
Mm-hmm.
If you're ever curious about gut health, I never really say plexus the first off, which is just me. But I didn't know if you had something typed out a little better than what I usually send.
You're good. Hold on, let me see.
I can share something. I'll just shoot from the hip. I would say something like this. If I had just made my first post and somebody liked it, I would say, hey, whatever your name is, thank you so much for liking my post. It may seem really small and insignificant, but honestly, I was really terrified to make that post because talking about this health issue is really vulnerable and really hard for me. But what I have learned just in the past few minutes since posting that is that a lot of people struggle with this same thing. And I'm assuming you might be one of them since you liked my post. Is that the case, or is there something else going on with your health that we might can chat about? I can try to type that out.
Also to the new girls, if you have been posting on Instagram and or Facebook, look through the people who have seen those stories and message them in the same way Chandler was talking about, because you know they've at least seen it. And you know they've at least seen it, you know, that you can start the combo that way. Like, you've probably seen me talk about my pink drink or whatever, and then start your message.
Or maybe you haven't made a first post, but you already have a list of people that you know have known health issues because they've either told you directly or have like made it public on social media. And you don't have to wait for a first post to follow up with them because they may not even see your first post or your second or your third or your 10th. So if you have those people in mind already, I would just shoot them straight with a message and say, hey, this may seem totally random, but I've actually been thinking about you all day. I've started taking some supplements and I remember that you struggled with this health issue. Would you want to look at something if I sent you some information? I really think this could help you. And just be real with them.
Mhm.
Okay, I just looked and I have two girls that I have followed up with a few times, and they have a couple of them haven't seen it yet. And so with one of them, I went to her stories and I commented on her stories because then that'll pop the message back up. And then the other one, I went and put a little heart on the last message she sent me with her symptoms. So anyway, I'm just bumping those messages back up. So
Mm.
Can I also say for the new girls, sometimes it's so easy, especially because like the first part of this is so scary. It's so easy to hide behind our phone because of the
Mhm.
fear. But if you have people in your immediate circle, like your mom, your cousin, your best friend, your college roommate, your sister, just like meet them for lunch tomorrow or just call them because they're going to feel the authenticity and feel like how much this means to you by scheduling that time with them. And they may even hear that you're a little bit nervous to talk. And that vulnerability is like what will connect that conversation for them. So do it scared, but don't hide behind your phone.
Yeah, and that might even look like texting them and saying, hey, be ready. I'm excited. I've started something new. I'm excited. I want to call you tomorrow about it, or something, simple like that. Like give them a heads up too. And plan your first post, because that's the scariest thing to some people, like putting it out there for the world. But I promise once you start posting, you'll never go back. Okay, y'all, we are going to hop off. Thank y'all so much for being on tonight and letting me blab on and forget words. I just wanted to encourage y'all, write down the things that we talked about that we need to have set in stone. Your systems, save these follow-ups in your notes in your phones, have these things accessible so that you can look back on them for inspiration, and you can tell your people when you have a team. So I want to hear in our January threads, I think Brittany already shared that video, and then your system and how you stay organized. So thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good night.
You too.